Good evening. This is the Angry Capitalist ENTJ series. I trust you're doing well. All right, before we get into it, I know that I have not been doing that much content, specifically as it relates to MBTI as well as ENTJs. So I'm just trying to put some stuff out there for you guys. I love the engagement that you brought on this topic. And if you enjoy this video, please go ahead and hit the like button. If you also enjoy the ENTJ content, please make sure to subscribe, ring the bell. One thing I recommend is if you just want to see content as it relates to MBTI and ENTJ personality type specifically, just hit the personalized section. However, if you do also want to be notified for all of my videos that include things such as business, finance, and economics, go ahead and hit the all selection. Now, before we go any further, the title of this video, of course, is ENTJ Homeostasis, 5 things all ENTJs should do. This video is going to be a little bit more of a ramble / chill session, more reminiscent of the earlier content that I've done. If you've watched some of my videos from as of late, well, I can still waffle a little bit, to borrow the more like English phrase. I'm not reading off a script verbatim, but I do have a bulleted list of all different points and talking and comment points that I have, just to keep me on track and to have a more condensed and fluid discussion. This video is going to be a little bit more chill. I will be drinking while I do this. No, it's not alcohol. It's seltzer with blueberries, frozen blueberries. I will make sure that I there. No mouse sounds that way, hopefully. So, getting into it. Number 1, this is something that I've recently integrated into my life. I highly recommend practicing and regularly practicing a martial art. Now, what exactly you want to practice, I'll leave that up to you. Personally, I've started doing Muay Thai. I do also have a slight background in HEMA, with an emphasis on bayonets and other large knives. But I don't always, believe it or not, I don't always have a knife on my person. And I've always been fascinated with Muay Thai, so I've given it a try. This is now my 2nd month doing it. My rate of training is between 2 to 4 classes per week. Keep in mind when I say 2 to 4, I'm doing at least 2 days. And then occasionally I'll do 2 classes back to back, either on one day or sometimes both days that I go. When it comes to the purpose of doing some kind of a martial art practice, I find myself to be a bit of a workaholic. And I woke up one day and I realized that I only really interact with people based on my work. And on the one hand, that's totally fine, but perhaps it's not exactly the most healthy thing to do long term. So, with going to a gym where I train a martial art, I am working towards developing a skill and a goal alongside like minded people. The bar scene is not for me, and frankly, how often does good stuff really come out of going to the bar? My parents met at a bar, uh, so I'll leave that up to your discretion if I would be included in that context. But additionally, another purpose for doing a martial art is the physical aspect, to develop better control of your body, to develop a sense of discipline. As well, it's a good way of doing cardio without completely fucking up the knees via running. Not to mention, there is, of course, also the self defense aspect, which is pretty handy as well. Next, I would refer to this as having a soft art that you practice. I've talked about this in a few other videos, but regularly doing something such as poetry, creative writing like fantasy, sci fi, music, both playing music yourself via an instrument, singing, writing music, and perhaps performing it. I myself grow bonsai trees, and I also have fruit trees and a bunch of berry bushes, that kind of thing. Having a soft art that you practice, I believe, is a very good habit to allow you to. For myself, I do it to develop my sense of finesse, if you will, to be able to slow down, flex the creative muscles a little bit, and to do so in a very chill, casual way. Um, I find it to be very helpful to release some of the tension that I can carry throughout my life. Hmm. Blueberries do make fantastic uh, ice cubes. Not really cubes. These next three are a little bit more nuts and bolts, if you will. They're a little bit more practical. Uh, Strategy and tactics. Now, it took me a while to think of a way to condense this point down to describe it. Ultimately, I said, fuck it, I'll go with strategy and tactics. Now, here what I'm talking about goes from everything to studying history in a business context, history in terms of politics, the art of war. This can include, but not limit itself to, um, like the 48 Laws of Power, mastery, topics like that. Anything done by Robert Greene, um, anything done by Jocko Willink, meditations via Marcus Aurelius, all of that I would put in the category of strategy and tactics. So this is more of something that I would describe as an ongoing study. It's something that I would recommend studying at a broad and macro level, but then also looking at your own personal life thus far, your own personal goals, and refining that study within the context of your own life. When it comes to the topic of strategy and tactics, one thing I would recommend is audiobooks. Just listen to audiobooks that have anything to do with that as a general topic. This can be historical biographies, anything. This can and should also include games. Regularly playing some kind of a game, whether it be chess, Risk, Go, fucking D&D. I don't care. You should regularly play a game. Monopoly. You should regularly play a game that invokes elements of strategy and tactics, even though it's not going to be a perfect facsimile for your usage in day-to-day life. It should be something that you engage with just to keep sharp and to train yourself to think within that context. The next point I have on here is rhetoric and persuasion. I'm actually doing a video. I just recorded it on rhetoric and persuasion as it relates to ENTJs. Being that our personality type is the archetype of the commander, making it a practice to study and practice your communication skills is something that I think should be constantly done. Given our capacity to direct and command people, I think it's very beneficial to put some intent behind that and to study it. This can be done via, once again, listening to audiobooks. However, ultimately, if you want to get better at something, you have to do it. One practice that I have is I will, on my weekly calendar, I will go ahead and put down a little note of something that I want to practice doing that relates to rhetoric and persuasion. Still trying to figure out what this week's topic is going to be. However, likely it's going to be just going back to the basics and refining my timing and tonality. That's something I'm always trying to improve. If you're listening to me, you know how goddamn monotone my voice is most of the time. So, something I'm always trying to improve. Fifth and last, but definitely not least, would be finance and economics. It is my belief, especially for our personality type, knowing the kinds of goals that you probably have, dear listener, I believe it should be a common practice that you look into your finances as well as different finance options, strategies, things like that that you could potentially use, even if it's just learning a financial word of the day or word of the week. You can go on to Investopedia, subscribe, and have a financial term pop up in your email. I believe every day they do it to introduce yourself to a new terminology. Further, with economics, staying on top of the economic situation globally within your country as well as within your locality, and having an understanding of how that all works and what the implications can be on yourselves. Case in point, I'm getting in the practice of doing an economic update via this channel. I'll be doing my next one, I believe, at the end of March, because we do have a lot of stuff going on. But making it a practice to understand economics as a field, as well as the economics of the world around us and how we fit into it and how we relate to it. These are the top 5 things that I could think of. If you have anything else that comes to your mind that you would recommend, please do go ahead and drop it down in the comments below. I hope you enjoy this kind of discussion. Once again, not as quite as structured as most things are. All I really had was 5 bullets on a piece of paper. But if you do enjoy this content, please, please, please go ahead and hit the like button. It'll help me out with the algorithm here on YouTube. They've been throttling my channel a bit lately, it seems. So, anyhow, if you have anything else that relates to the ENTJ personality type that you would like me to discuss, or if you have any questions that pop up in your mind, please go ahead and drop those down in the comments below as well. Thank you, and have a good evening.